So hopefully this will be a lightning talk. My name is Bob Lantz. I work on Faucet and Mininet. I'll talk about faucetagent, which is a very simple gNMI agent for configuring Faucet. And so, actually, I'll go into play here. So the question that sort of motivates this is how could you configure Faucet using gNMI? So gNMI is, as you all know, is gRPC Network Management Interface. It's a network and network configuration and device management protocol that uses gRPC. And if you happen to already have tools or management infrastructure that uses gNMI, such as gNXI tools or something like ONOS config that has a gNMI southbound, the question is how could you use that to talk to Faucet and to assimilate a Faucet controller and network into your gNMI collective? And so the answer is, or at least the sort of prototype answer that we propose, or that I propose, working with Brad and Josh, is faucetagent.py. And it's the simplest possible gNMI agent you can imagine that just allows you to read or rewrite Faucet's YAML config file using gNMI. And it optionally signals Faucet to restart it, although it doesn't have to, and that's all it does. So I'm going to give you a demo. So actually, hold on a sec. Except hide it for now. So I'm going to start up, let's see, is this big enough? Can you guys see it, or should I make it a little bigger? That looks nice and big. Okay, so I'll just start it again from scratch. So I'm going to start up a Mininet network using a very simple two-switch topology with two hosts connected to each switch and using Faucet connected as the controller. So it started up. And what I'm going to do is start up the Faucet agent on and connect it to Faucet with some certificates that I've pre-generated. And so if I look at what's running on my Faucet container right at the moment, we've got Faucet and the Faucet agent. And so now that's basically it. We can talk to it. So actually, I'll show you something maybe interesting. If we go back to, so here's the, it's already available. It's on the Faucet repo. And so I'm just going to run through the sort of demo of how to do that. First, I'll set up a couple of environment variables to make it easier to set the config. And so the first thing you can do with gNMI is get capabilities out of it. And that just, in this case, it tells you, you may be surprised that it's telling you that the version of Faucet, that Faucet's the device it's talking to in the version of 1.0, but that's actually the version of the schema. And the schema, all it allows you to do is to write a string, and that string is the config file. And so it's very simple. And this is the version of the agent. And so we can use gNMI get to take a look at the config. And here it is. We've requested it. And we see that we've got sort of two networks, a kind of guest network on the left and an office network on the right. So H1 and H2 can talk to each other, and H3 and H4, this is the config we have now. So if I say do some pinging, we find that H1 and H2 can talk to each other, and H3 and H4 should be able to talk to each other. So what if we want to change that? Well, we can change we can add a config. Now this is, I'm not editing Faucet's config. I'm editing this file as demo config, which isn't part of Faucet, but I'm going to make it so that the, I'm going to fight with the VI and make it so that the odd numbered hosts are now on the guest network and can talk to each other. And the even numbered are on the office network and can talk to each other. And so I'll use gNMI set to upload that to Faucet. In this case, use demo. Uploaded it, and now in theory, if this worked properly, well, actually we can also get it back and see, we can read it back. But in theory, if we well, let's see. Now we see that the odd hosts can talk to each other and the even hosts can talk to each other. So they've been shifted on different networks and VLANs. And so that's pretty much it. Let's see. And say what? Oh yeah. So any quick questions?
Does what it says.
Does what it says in the 10. Yeah. Question.
Yeah, I mean, if you were plan to like support that in way, I know that's part of the gNMI as well. It's good to see your.
I didn't fully understand the question. Could you repeat the question part? Did you ask if I'm planning to implement streaming telemetry in the agent?
Yeah.
Yeah, so gNMI has this nice capability of bidirectional streaming. It's very cool. It's a really neat feature, and I'm totally not going to implement it in the agent. So Faucet's Faucet's monitoring is through Gauge and through Prometheus. So you could do that, but yeah, Faucet's agent currently is really basic and no plans for that. All right, thanks a lot.